for the 9th webinar in the BASL webinar series titled Why Nutrition Matters, organized by the BASL Webinars and Legal Symposiums Committee, chaired by Mr. Rajiv Amarasuriya, Attorney at Law, co-chaired by Attorneys at Law Mr. Chatura Galhena and Mr. Pasindu Silva, and the conveners of the committee being Attorneys at Law, Ms. Pandula Vanyarachi, Mr. Oshan Abhiratna, Mr. Matthew David, Ms. Isuri Kure, and Ms. Rusandi Pereira. Today's webinar is one that is a bit different in nature from the rest, as it is not on a subject of law, but a subject of equal importance when it comes to health and well-being of us all. We have with us today a wonderful and learned composition of panelists to enlighten us on why nutrition matters, guided by the capable hands of our moderator, all of whom I will now introduce. Our first panelist is Dr. Renuka Jatissa. Dr. Jatissa is the Vice Chancellor and Head of the Faculty of Food and Nutrition at the International Institute of Health Sciences, Multiversity. A medical doctor with over 40 years of experience, she specializes in public health and human nutrition. She has served as a head of nutrition at the Medical Research Institute. As a UNICEF nutrition specialist, Dr. Jatissa currently holds key regional roles with the IDEAN Global Network and parenteral and enteral nutrition bodies and is president of SARC Foods. She is a widely published and award-winning expert. She is also president-elect of the College of Palliative Medicine Sri Lanka. We are happy to have you here with us, madam. Our second panelist is Professor Renuka Silva. Professor Renuka Silva is the chair in the Department of Applied Nutrition and a professor of nutrition at the Wayamba University of Sri Lanka. He obtained his PhD in the discipline of human nutrition from University of Reading, UK, and his bachelor's degree from the University of Peradeniya. He was the former Dean of the Faculty of Livestock, Fisheries and Nutrition and former Head of Department of Applied Nutrition, and is a past President of the Nutrition Society of Sri Lanka and a former member of the Technical Advisory Committee of the National Nutrition Council in Sri Lanka. He has also been a consultant to the World Food Programme, and with over 30 years of experience in the field, he is the Sri Lanka lead researcher for the CGIAR Fresh Initiative year 2020 to 2030. His key research interests are food, literacy and nutrition of school children, food security, non-communicable diseases, and healthy diets. Sir, we're happy to have you with us here today. Our third panelist is Professor Ananda Chandrasekara. Professor Chandrasekara is an academic and a researcher in the field of nutrition and dietetics with over 30 years of experience. He holds a PhD in human nutrition, clinical biochemistry from the University of Sydney, Australia, and a Master of Teaching from the University of Melbourne. His research focuses on reversing insulin resistance, functional foods, nutraceuticals, and obesity management with a strong emphasis on preventing and managing diabetes mellitus. Sir, we're happy to have you with us today as well. Our moderator for today's session is Ms. Udara Dasanayaka, Attorney at Law. Ms. Udara Dasanayaka is a Sri Lanka Medical Council registered practicing nutritionist, a researcher, and a fellow attorney at law. She has obtained her bachelor's degree specializing in applied nutrition from the Wayamba University and the master's degree from the Peradeniya University. She also holds a LLB degree from the Open University and being admitted as an attorney at law of the Supreme Court recently. With over 15 years of experience in the field of nutrition, she is the current editor of the Nutrition Society of Sri Lanka and heads the nutrition division of a leading multinational company in the country. Her research interests include public health and nutrition policies, insulin receptor upregulation, and human rights. Udara, we're glad to have you here with us today. And I now hand over this discussion to Ms. Udara Dasanayaka. Over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Yohani, and I'm very much honored and privileged to moderate this evening's panel discussion. And before we move into the deep dive, I would like to convey a special gratitude to Mr. Rajiv Amarasuriya sir, the President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka and the organizing committee for this commendable endeavor. Next, once again, let me extend a warm welcome to all of you to this evening's session, Why Nutrition Matters. I assume that you all will agree with me if I mention that though we all appreciate that nutrition, health, and well-being are essential elements of a successful life, they are among the most conveniently forgotten pillars in the life. Usually, they become priorities once somebody falls ill or unwell only. But ideally, which shouldn't be the case. On the other hand, did you know that month of June is a special month in the national calendar? That is because it's the national nutrition month in Sri Lanka. So of course, that is a coincidence that we also happen to have this session today, that is June 14th. So within this background, we realized that discussing the role of nutrition in our lives is a very timely and a much needed area to cover. On the other hand, nutrition concerns are a vast area and managing them within an hour and a half is a real challenge. Hence, having that also in mind, this panel discussion is crafted in particular to answer a set of shortlisted questions from a pool of frequently asked questions that we have gathered from our learned friends time to time about their health, nutrition, and well-being. In the meantime, I would like to highlight that our audience joining online too can post your questions our way via the chat. So we are glad to take up a couple of those up as the time permits at the end of the panel discussion. So for that, it is with great honor and pride that I announce that I have the best of the best three nutrition experts in the country with me today. That is Dr. Renuka Jayatissa Madam and Professor Renuka Silva Sir and Professor Ananda Chandrasekhara Sir. So without further ado, let us straight go into the session now. And my first question is to Dr. Renuka Jayatissa. Madam, so I would like to open up the forum with two age-old sayings. That is Hippocrates' famous advice, let your food be your medicine and let your medicine be your food. And the second quote, you are what you eat. So madam, versus what these quotes imply, I would like to understand your deliberations on, are we really what we eat? Or in other words, like what is the role that nutrition has to play in maintenance of human health and life? Over to you, madam.
Okay, thank you, Yohani. And at the same time, first of all, good evening, all of you. And I would like to thank Mr. Rajiv Amrasuriya, President, for having this webinar. So to answer your question, so I thought I will put a little bit, one or two slides, because I think listening to my voice may be boring, but still that it's nice for you to see some pictures rather than looking at me. So I thought I will share some small pictures. So what you have been looking at, this Hippocratic one, so definitely that's kind of really something we are always talking about. So I thought this is a correct slide that I'm going to show you. Life, actually, our life is a matter of balance, because what we all do is we don't want to get into the extreme of life, that is death. So to prevent that, what we have to do is we have to maintain health and we have to get out from all diseases. So what other way around, we are looking at, we don't allow germs to get into our body, and because our body, there will be immune cells to prevent them getting into our body. So this is a balance we have to maintain. So in this balance, nutrition is one of the most important part that will play to maintain this balance. So let's look at the next one. And this is why nutrition. So nutrition we need for each and every cell, each and every organ, each and everything in our body, enzymes, hormones, and our skin, our beauty, everything we need nutrition. So this is nutrition is one of the most important thing to maintain our body, everything. So there's nothing more than that. So each and every one of muscles and everything we need nutrition. So this is, without our life, we can't go without nutrients. Then this is the next one. And we know our brain. Now, all of you all are lawyers. And why you have become lawyers? Because you have a very high cognitive function. Why it has happened? Because from when your mothers, they have consumed very much when they were pregnant for you all. So that's a time that you got the proper nutrient. Then after that, you have got your optimum nutrition. That's what today you are there as lawyers, because you have a higher cognitive function, because you got the optimum nutrition. So this is one of the things which is very important. From birth till we die, we need optimum nutrition to maintain our cognitive functions. At the same time, we need our language, even for the language and our other sensory, visual, and everything, we need nutrient. The second one, at the same time, what we eat, it matters. Because if we are eating some kind of our eating pattern, and if we eating in the positive manner or negative manner, so it may be negative for me, it may be positive for someone else, but I'm looking at the negative ways. If we are taking more sugar, more fat, which will enhance, it will increase immunity, our inflammation in our body. So then we are more prone to get any disease. Some people, they get sick every time, and as soon as someone enter their room with a cold and cough, they get sick. So this is something, if your body has a lot of inflammation, and then what happens is you get really sick very quickly. So that's another thing with even the negative eating patterns, which will really go in the negative manner for your health. Then the next one I'm just looking at is what beverages. What beverages that we take, this is another thing. So all of us have to drink something, and the hydration is the most important things. So what we are taking, that is very much important. So you can see in this picture, so many things we can drink. And this is not, I am telling that we should not take this thing, and how regularly, how frequently you are consuming these things. So what will happen is energy. You will get more energy from the different drinks. So this energy will build up in your body. So that's another thing, whether you are taking the proper beverages, or whether you are taking the long time, you are taking the negative kind of beverages. So the next one, the food, what food we consume. This is another thing. So if we really look at the diabetes, and this is something which is coming up all over in the world, as well as Sri Lanka, that something like 30% of the people are having diabetes, pre-diabetics. They don't know that they are having diabetes. So this is another thing. If you are consuming processed food more frequently, you have a very high risk. If it is red meat, you have a very high risk. It's not consuming red meat once a week. This is something you are taking kind of regular manner. And the sugar added beverages, that's another way you get the risk. So this is the important things. All these food, we need food. We have to maintain our body. We have to maintain our systems. But at the same time, what food we consume, this is something which matters. So this is another consistent finding. Because if we take excess calories, excess energy from our food and beverages, what will happen? It will lead to our weight gain. This is what we become overweight and obese. And what happens is, at the same time, it will lead to multiple cancers, especially prostate cancer, colon cancer, at the same time, breast cancer. These are the commonest cancers which come with this high energy. And then the next one is, from the childhood, we have to be very careful with the obesity. And this is just a matter of, the picture is for the child, but it's the same thing for the adult also. So anyone can lead to all these things with the obesity. So this is something very important. What we eat, what we are not eating, and all these things are the matter. The next one I just want to highlight within my 10 minutes. The another part is muscles. Because when we are aging, I think most of now you are lawyers, now you are in the adult category. And so then when we are getting older, our muscles will get kind of decline, our muscle mass. You can see this picture, how the 21-year person has the muscles and how the 63-year person has the muscles. In the other picture also, you can see how the muscles is losing. This is a natural phenomena. But how nutrition is important, the nutrition can really slow down this mechanism. This is what's important, because sometimes the normal mechanisms, we can't really hold it, but sometimes we can really kind of slow down it. So this is what's important. So then this is another thing, protein is the solution. So this is why people need the kind of different food items in the thing. I think next speaker will explain all these things. So I'm just mainly concentrating on how nutrition matters to us to live healthy, as well as to prevent premature deaths, as well as so many diseases. So with that, I think I have explained what Yohani has mentioned. So over to you, Yohani.
Thank you very much, Madam Renuka, for that well elaborated overview of the role of nutrition in human health and life. So we'll proceed to the next question, which I would like to pose to Professor Renuka Silva. Sir, now we all are busier and the life is really fast. So the typical routine of an individual nowadays would be that they have no time for breakfast, they have no time for proper meals, and usually their meals are delayed, poor hydration, frequent snacking. Usually most of us have to rely on whatever available, no time for physical activities and so on. On the other hand, usually healthy diets, or rather the diets perceived as healthy, are unattractive. Within such an environment, my question is, in the long run, how to have a healthier diet, or like how practical is it to have a healthier diet, in particular as a long-term practice? Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dara. I think you can hear me. You ask how practical is having a healthy diet. Whether it is practical or not, that is what we have to do, and we have to make it practical. So that is a theory, or that should be our life's the philosophy. Though it is difficult, we have to do a lot of difficult things, and seems to be impossible in certain situations, certain things. But everyday life, we have different ways of doing certain things. So I think the health is also important. When we were children, we didn't bother much about the health, but when we became the young adults, still at the time of the university and after passing out the university, we didn't care about our health, because naturally we used to have day-to-day activities, and we feel we are very healthy and active. But when we start our jobs, especially, our lifestyles change entirely, and we have to adapt to a more work oriented lifestyle. I think all of you are professionals, and you are, and I'm an academic in the university. So we have dedicated our majority of the time for our profession, for professional improvements, and therefore we get the money and the financial benefits, and also the reputation, everything. But at one point, we have to think about our health. Especially, we start thinking about the health when we get a disease. There are two types of diseases. One is the infectious diseases, okay, say COVID or flu or any other things that you day-to-day life you encounter. The other thing is the long-term diseases. Already it has been mentioned. Diabetes is number one. Most of the people, if you take 4 adults in this country, at least one person is having diabetes, and some people don't know. But the main cause of death, the main reason for the death is the cardiovascular disease. And cardiovascular disease, or we generally call it as heart diseases or heart attack. It's actually not the heart attack, but the stroke is also one of the heart diseases. So those are the major reasons for our premature deaths. So premature death is if you die, or if someone dies before 60, 65, then it's a premature death, because our life expectancy is about 77 years. We have the chance of living for more than 75 years, definitely. But the time is shortened because of our wrong lifestyle practices. Actually, this has to be started from the childhood. So that if you are a parent, then you need to train your the sons and daughters to start the healthy life. Okay, let's come to the current scenario. We all are professionals and we are working working a lot every day, spending maybe more than 12 hours on working. So then how is it practical to do something beneficial to the body? So I would like to share few pictures and see whether these things are really the practical or not. One of the major challenges that we face is time constraints. Everyone, including me, always said no time to do exercises, no time to find healthy food. So limited options we have everyday life to have this kind of the healthy, colorful fruits and vegetables. And also we have another perception, not especially you, but the poorer people think that the healthy foods are expensive. And also there are certain other cultural and social influences. Mainly you have or we have the social influences, especially you, because you have a lot of parties and a lot of get-togethers and a lot of socializing. So then what we really eat matters. So then the problem is becoming obese, male or a female. Having too much of fat in the upper part of the body is the problem. I also have this problem, had the problem, having the problem, and time to time, when others are pointing my belly and saying that you are too fat and your tummy is uh, too much, then we start to do little bit of exercises. And when the doctor tells you that your cholesterol level is high, then we start exercises. So having more fat above your waistline is the problem. Typically, even the males or the females should not have that. We call it as apple-shaped body. Apple, the upper part is bigger. Right. So the principle in nutrition is when you are eating, you have to have a balance. Balance means you have to eat foods from not from one or two food groups. We have food groups like rice, and the starchy things like that the pasta, noodles, and bread, all sort of things are the very starchy ones. We get a lot of energy, and oils are there, meat is there, fish is there, eggs, fruits and vegetables are very important in our life. So we need to incorporate all these things, milk as well. So all these things should be in the balance, and also moderation. That's the next important thing. Should not eat large quantities of any of these things. Even fruits and vegetables, there's a limit. There's nothing called unlimited we can eat, or there's nothing called good food or superfood or the magic bullets. So all we need to eat moderation. It's a common sense, not a very much, you don't need a degree or something to understand that moderation, but all the other important thing is you need to have consistency. Not 1 or 2 days of having healthy meals and rest of the days or rest of the meals are very unhealthy meals. That shouldn't be done. Right? So the government has introduced this kind of plate. This plate shows only the, say, main meal. So look at this, and you should not have a full plate of rice, not the heap of rice. That's a typical Sri Lankan diet, but we have to have a little less than half of the plate, the rice. And if you are eating potatoes and other yams and manioc or something, a very little portion. But you can see that half Rest of the half of the plate should have the greens, green leafy vegetables, and at least 2 or 3 vegetables, enough quantities, meat or fish or egg, and maybe parippu, the dal, or some other kind of the seeds, or we call them as pulses. Right? So this is the balance, and this is the moderation, and you need to have this consistently. But most of the time, we face this kind of the parties and the functions and the snacks in our day-to-day life, in our office meetings. So that's sometimes unavoidable. So then you need to change that culture a little bit. So rather than having this kind of very oily, deep fried kind of things, we need to practically change the office environment. So once even in our university, certain meetings are now, they decided not to serve the fried kind of foods, but we want to have healthy snacks. So there are many other practical ways of changing our office surrounding, office environment, and very importantly, your home environment. Environment means your food, the food you eat, and the food you purchase from the market, and the way you eat. Way you eat means the portions, not too much of portions. Very low portions will longer the life expectancy, or that means you can live longer. So we can discuss further about that. And this kind of greeny things, sometimes you might say, I don't like this. This is bland and this is not tasty. But consider your age, and at least by now, we need to change a little bit and not having very unhealthy food like this. Occasionally you can have. We never ask, as nutritionists, we never ask people not to eat this, not to eat that. That's not our strategy. We ask people, okay, if you want to eat these things occasionally, there are certain things that we can eat occasionally and certain things that we have to eat most of the time. So everyday life, the top set of foods we have to eat, we eat them, but sometimes we can eat even vade or the snacks, the biscuits, cakes, but certain things you need to restrict as much as possible. But for pleasure, you can have other sweet things occasionally, very occasionally, but not every day. Alcohol is also important thing. Alcohol gives you pleasure, but short term, but there is a limit. So I think over the next half an hour or so, we can discuss further about this. But on top of all these things, little bit of exercise is important. Little bit means at least you need to have a workout of 15 to 20 minutes minimum. But if you are already obese or fat, then you need to do at least 45 minutes of moderate type of exercises. What I tell my students in the university, what is moderate? When you are doing moderate type of exercises, you can talk, but you cannot sing a song. So that means your heart rate increase, your the breathing rate increase, but you can't sing, but still you can talk. But that's the level of exercises that we have to do. I'm sure that the other speakers will tell you more things, and if Udara asks us many other questions, we would be happy to. I would be happy to elaborate more about these things. But I have to say that these are practically possible, but you need to change, and you need to do this change slowly. But you can't make a big change within 1 week or month, reducing the weight. Those are impossible and impracticable and not sustainable. You can't continue them. So I think those are the basic things that you need to first understand, and later on in the discussion, we can discuss more about these things. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for taking time to enlighten us on several practical but yet simple ways of adding more color and flavor to our plates while still inculcating a balanced and varied diet in the long run for our own benefit. Then our next question in line is about socializing and the diet. I think Renuka sir also has touched upon few aspects of socializing and the relationship between the diet. But if we go more deeper into the subject, could I pose this question to you, Professor Ananda Chandrasekhara sir? So, to set the background, just socializing is an inevitable part and parcel of a regular attorney. And within this context, one burning question that we received was how to socialize the healthier way. So, for example, do we need to totally give up fast food, avoid alcohol completely, and so on? So, sir, over to you to table your sentiments.
Okay, thank you very much, Udara. Actually, the very interesting and very important question here. One thing that one of the famous misconception is that socializing, you cannot socialize with a healthier way, because people think that the enjoyment or the making something pleasure is not a easy thing, or it should come in a hard way. So therefore, people think that what we are enjoying cannot be always. I mean, the things are consider be when you are talking. When we are here, we are talking about nutrition, and cannot be very nutritious. So that is the one thing that I want to highlight here in my discussion. Very important question, because the people eat. Why we eat food? The first question is basically why we eat food, because we enjoy eating. Without, I mean, you know that if you don't have, if you don't like to eat, or if you don't have, it's not because we need nutrition we eat. It is not because we are hungry we eat. It is because we like to eat it. We enjoy, we get a pleasure out of eating. So mainly focus on eating, and there's a social scenario altogether surrounding with the weddings or whatever the parties what we are attending. That's all. So therefore, how can we socialize healthier way? The question, I think that is our perspective has to be changed. The main important thing here is what makes this dietary intake unhealthier. Why it is becoming unhealthy way? The main focus is, first thing we have to think about that in nutrition in general, what we see is why we eat in order to get all the necessary nutrients. So first thing we are talking about the major nutrient, as Professor Dr. Renuka explained. There are certain macronutrients and the micronutrients that we require. In order to get that nutrients, we eat food. Then the most important thing here is it's not because what we are eating, but because of the amount of the correct amount, correct proportion, the quantity and quality of the food that we are eating is important. Because if you are eating too much, some current scenario, we are talking about the NCDs, non-communicable diseases like type 2 diabetes mellitus, hypertension, dyslipidemia, cholesterol problem, cancers, cardiovascular diseases. These diseases are mainly linked with our dietary behavior. How? Mainly we are talking here about the amount, quantity. If you are consuming more than what you require, or if you are consuming more than what you can spend, definitely there's a problem. Here we are talking about the energy. If you are consuming energy more than that you require, then there's a problem. So therefore, whatever the way socializing or general eating, whatever eating, first thing you have to concern about how much of calorie we are consuming. Likewise, as I said, that you can have the food that is required for you and you enjoy. Because example is sometimes you can go for like a McDonald's or having a burger or something like that, usually considered to be unhealthy. It's okay as long as you consume in a smaller quantity along with the other necessary nutrients. So in nutrition we can say occasional indulgence. Occasional indulgence means you can have it in an occasional way, not as a regular thing, because the first thing we talk about the fast food that comes with the most of the time high calorie and not much other nutrients. One of the example we can say it's a burgers, what we are consuming from the McDonald's and other fast food outlets. So, but now, if you want to if you really enjoy this kind of food, what we have to do is that one thing is you can have occasion, not as regular food. Then second thing is you can include the another healthy alternatives into the menu items. Like we can say that you can add salads, some of the meat items, if you are eating, you can put it as a grilled one, like that. And that is the major thing. What we can do is we can improve the quality of the food that we are consuming, even though we consider them as fast food. Then second thing is you can think about we know that sometimes the very short period of that is what it called as one thing is it prepare very fast and it consume very fast. So if you can take off that fast the way that you are consuming, probably you can slow it down. It might help you to improve the level, because if you consume in a small certain quantity in a very short period of time, that is not very healthier, because ultimately your digestive system will release the blood glucose into the system very quickly. Then other fat digestion and absorption is faster. Then your body cannot tolerate enough in the short period of time. That will create a condition we call that insulin resistance and other associated conditions that are leading to the diseases like non-communicable diseases that we discussed. So slow down, occasional. Third thing is probably you can go for the different places, because the thing is actually it's a very much higher psychology involved in this when you are thinking about the diet, because you enjoy food same as you enjoy the surrounding as well. If you are learning to enjoy the surrounding and other things like listening to music, maybe your scenario that you are looking, you are in the area, and other thing is you can change the menus. By doing that, you can actually make the because the one thing is your guilty feeling of consuming fast food. Second thing is it can improve the quality of the food that you are consuming in a different way. And the other thing is sometimes people main thing is when you are consuming different type of foods that are not generally considered as healthier, we can improve them. If you have any question, you can ask a nutritionist how to improve this kind of thing, whether it is okay for me to consume this much of food. You have to get some advice. Then some of the things when you are socializing, even Professor Renuka talking about that alcohol consumption. I mean, in generally, we don't advise people to have alcohol, but we know that it's a part of the socializing life. So what we have to do, how much? Main thing, important thing is you have to know your limits. Definitely, there is no such thing as today I can consume at whatever I like, and then I can stop drinking for another 2 weeks. Then again, that is not a very good way of controlling. It's not your limit. You can have very small quantities because your liver, your body can tolerate certain amount of alcohol within certain period of time. So if you know that limit, I think that's okay. Usually consider as up to 2 drinks per day for men and women, or even women, it usually consider as a 1 standard drink per day. because their tolerance levels are much lower than the men's tolerance level. Then other thing is you can go for the different alternatives, like I suggested in the food also. You can have a different food, different alcohol if you are consuming. Remember, I am not advising anyone to consume alcohol. I am not saying it's a part of the thing. If you feel like you have to have, first thing as it's a responsible drinking. That is the most important thing I have to say about that. We know that you have to have a responsible life, other things what we are doing. Then you can think about the hydration. You have to drink enough water because alcohol is causing dehydration, and that might lead to some other issues and the toxicity and other issues along with that. So you have to have enough hydration along with, you can have enough food in your stomach, not that drink empty stomach, because empty stomach will increase the absorption and that will cause more burden to the liver. That is actually making that things converting into the non-toxic way. Detoxification is happening inside the liver, so it will reduce the burden to the liver. Then it comes to the most important thing, because I am actually, when I'm talking about the nutrition, I always talk about physical activity. Because if you are eating very correct, very proper way of diet, or avoiding all the unnecessary food, everything is okay. But if you are not doing enough exercise or physical activity, actually there's a problem. Because the physical activity should be number one all the time, because the thing is, mainly one thing is, it will reduce the amount of, like when you are eating calorie 2000 and your requirement is 1005, you are saving 500 calories in your body as fat. To avoid that, if you increase your physical activity level to 2000 or 2010, then it will, one thing is, it won't stop, it won't increase your fat. Fat deposition is the main reason for the non-communicable disease that we discussed. So excess fat accumulation should be avoided by doing enough physical activity. That is the most important thing. Second thing is, physical activity, not just burning calories. It will improve your mental health. It will improve your muscles, which will help you definitely in a different way, and it will reduce the insulin resistance that I was talking about. So therefore, physical activity should be the part of your social life. So what you can do is, you can do sports, some kind of sports, or tennis, or playing whatever the thing, or taking dancing classes, cycling, hiking, whatever the thing that will come into your social life as a part of that. Not just having a drink at the end of the day is not going to be very, and that will help you to stress management, because that is also part of the healthier way of living, and especially part of the nutrition overall. Stress management, one thing you can do, it's a different way, like mindfulness or meditation, same as doing physical activity, will help you to improve your level of your mental health, and ultimately it might help you to have you manage your have a good nutrition, and ultimately it can help you to manage your overall social life, and while maintaining the social life in a healthier way, you can improve your quality, because social awareness and social health, social environment is very important in good health and nutrition, definitely, because that is also part of that. Because your mental health, you are not just an independent individual person that living alone and doing all the good things. You have to live within the society. So therefore, that how you are going to do that one, dealing with the people, these are the things that need to do. So you have to work with them, you have to work with them in a happily way. So ultimately it should be the balance, not the extreme. You can't go like you can't have the food that, sometimes people say that eat only the healthy food. Yes, definitely only the healthy food, but the way of eating should be, you can make the some of the things, as Professor Renuka said, there is no good food or bad food. Only thing is way you eating, and the time you are eating, and your requirement, individual requirement, everything matters. That's basically about my answer to your question, Udara, if you have any other question, I am happy to answer.
Thank you very much, sir, for comprehending and concising innovative ways of socializing within a very limited time window that most of us might not have thought of before. I know that we can keep talking and talking on this interesting topic, but given the interest of time, let's move to the next question. And my next question is to you, Madam Renuka. So, Madam, it is actually the one of the most popular or fascinating questions that we have received, and also I know for a fact that is an all-time favorite question in any forum anywhere. So that is how to control or manage satiety and weight without exercises. And do we really need exercises? Isn't what we usually do on a daily basis good enough? So, Madam Renuka, over to you.
I think that's a great question, Udara, because the satiety, I think that's what everybody is struggling with. It does not mean that we have to maintain, we have to keep hungry, as well as because, as others mentioned, food is part of our life, and it is a friendship part, as social part, as well as a festival part, celebrities, so many things are there. So I think here that when we are focusing on satiety, one of the things is we have to look at the eat food that keep because some food that keep you full. So this is what we have to mainly focus on. So what are these food that which will keep us full? One is a high fiber food. What is this high fiber? Actually, they are that fiber is in our food, and then it will really slow our digestion. At the same time, it will stabilize our blood craving and the appetite also. At the same time, when you have a chronic stress, this is another problem. With the chronic stress, you have your cortisol level will go up, and then what happens is your fat storage will encourage the fat storage, and it will end up with the abdominal obesity, like abdominal fats. So what are the options? And there are so many options. And the one is intermittent fasting is one option, and the portion control plans. Sometimes you can have a diabetic friendly meal plan. So there are so many options are there. But it does not mean everyone can handle all the options, because it all depends on your health status, what is your kind of disease status. All these things have to look at when you are going for these options. So you really have to ask for some helps. And the next one is you asked, do really exercise required? So these are very important questions. When we looking at the weight loss, actually it is weight the exercises are really helpful. But at the same time, all these things, the health, one of the part of the health is spiritual health, mental health. Mental health is something very, very much important to all of us. And this is exercise is very, very important to maintain our mental health. And the other thing is preventing weight gain. Also, I think exercises are very important. But at the same time, there are some other things, exercise are essential. So those are the things to strengthen our muscles and to maintain our metabolic health. What do you mean by metabolic health is something like not to get into diabetes like diseases, and then not to get into your big tummies and the things. So these are the metabolic health to maintain, and the general health as well as the longevity. So all these three things, exercises are essential. So which mean that we need some exercises to kind of every day in our life, because it will really help to maintain our mental status as well as other factors also. So therefore, I feel that answering your question, Udari, and so all these factors we have to really looking at, and the satiety as well as exercise, and how are we going to manage our day-to-day life in according to based on our this type of advices. But you have to reflect into your normal practices, because everybody can't do the same everything, but you have to adapt into your normal life and your pattern and your food preferences as well as the way you eat. Thank you. Over to Udara.
Thank you very much, madam, for that insightful and eye-opening sentiments. And I believe that our audience is clear of the message that is appropriate exercises are essential. They are essential elements of a healthier life and is non-negotiable. And also, Dr. Renuka Jayatissa madam emphasized another important fact that is that the same shoe does not fit for all, so that you have to have something that is appropriate for you. So then let's move to the fifth question. And then the fifth question goes to Professor Ananda Chandrasekhara sir. Sir, so now these days we come across so much unsolicited advices on nutrition, diets, and health. And unfortunately, most of which may not be properly backed by conclusive scientific evidence as well. So, in such an environment, what are your insights on how impactful are these popular fad diets, and also how to combat or filter these online fads and misinformation? Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dara. I think it's again another very important, interesting question, because everyone's talking about, when we are talking about nutrition, everyone's talking about how about this diet or how about that diet. Well, these are the different type of diets are there. Some of the diets are actually not based on any scientific evidence, but based on the certain beliefs and myths. Some of the diets, or the like famous, there are several famous diets are there, like a Mediterranean diet, or we can say that some of the DASH diet, they are mainly focused on this based on the scientific evidence and focus on particular specific role of the diet. But when you're talking about the acids, they're commonly popular ones, and in the social media promoting so much of different diets. Example is keto diet, or sometimes recently, I don't want to say the name of the individual, but promoting a diet that is according to that person, it's like his own invention, but it's not a personal invention, but not new thing. But this type of thing, diets are there from the history of the, it's there from so much of years in a different way. And the different type of diet, I will discuss very briefly about that. Keto diet is one thing that people are mostly concerned about, mostly inquiring about. Then sometimes certain diets, like an example is, some people say it's not very popular in Sri Lanka, but some other several countries say about detoxing diet or cleansing diet. There are certain diets they recommend to have a clean your body. I mean, I know that it's very popular in India and some other countries, even Western countries, cleansing, because they think that they are consuming a lot of toxic thing every day. So you need to have a diet to clean your body. Sometimes some of the diets are based on certain scientific evidence, and the popular, and currently in Sri Lanka, very popular one is intermittent fasting. These kind of diets are basically, as I said, that there are some variants. And why they are popular, we have to say that, look at that one, rather than say these diets are what we call so-called fad diet, not good, or we have to discourage all people of fad diet. We can't say, because they are becoming popular because of the one major reason is they have promises. And sometimes they achieve these promises in a short period of time at least. So one of the things is rapid weight loss. Rapid weight loss is one of the major thing, and sometimes they see, some of the diets might help you to improvement of the health, like a blood glucose control or some other things. Therefore, people like to have that kind of diet, because rather than, that at least they think about the change in diet and making things improving good. The problem with these ones is some of these ones are actually, some of the examples I can say is rapid, like keto diet, or some of the diets we can say earlier there was a similar diet like Atkins diet was there. They are kind of an extreme type of diets you are consuming in a very different way rather than what you are consuming currently, because currently our dietary behavior is different, but these are extreme kind of a thing, and it's not very easy to make that diet continuously having this kind of thing. Unless there are certain diets, sometimes they say like you have to eat enough, at least you have to eat as much as possible animal protein, and sometimes they recommend not to eat any of the vegetable or fruits. They say that vegetables is for the animals, not for the human. Some kind of extremes are there. So these extremes can cause, as I said, that if you consume very high diet, very high fat diet, remember that one thing definitely there, whatever the diet, first thing is a rule is you have to restrict the calorie. There is no diet will give you any benefit unless you restrict the calorie. Total calorie requirement should be restricted. Whether you are consuming from protein or fat or carbohydrate, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, if you are not restricting, and you can't say that you can have at any amount as whatever the amount you like, and ultimately you get the benefit, it's not happening. So therefore, there is no such thing as that. You have to restrict, and especially whether you are consuming everything from protein or fat or carbohydrate, it doesn't matter. You are ultimately converting inside your body as energy, and energy restriction should be there. Whatever the way, if you follow some of these diets, sometimes you might see the short-term benefits. Very short-term benefits are there, like a rapid weight loss. Remember that sometimes this rapid weight loss within 2-3 days time, what you achieve, for the sum of the diets that you are consuming is not exactly the weight loss. Sometimes maybe due to loss caused by the water or fluid loss. Extreme, when you are doing the extreme calorie restriction, this fluid loss can be there, or there can be a certain amount of fat, but it should be a long-term one. Then the other thing is, when you see something like that as an outcome, probably you might, it might motivate people to, I mean, one of the benefits is that with the short-term benefits, it's motivating people who are consuming. But there are several long-term risks are associated, because the one thing is like when you see the social media or some of the people who are not exactly following, I am not saying they're not qualified, what I can say is not based on the scientific evidence. That is the important thing. Even the people who are qualified, like people who are involved in academic or other I mean the careers, health professionals, doesn't matter if they are not based on the scientific evidence. Definitely you have to think, because people should start looking for this one, and you have to check that there are enough internet sources now. Social, I mean, whatever they're coming from the social media, it doesn't need to be taken as it's a cardinal truth. You can check all the times, and AI technology is there. Whatever the way, you can check this one. So therefore, you can check for the evidence, because without evidence base, whatever the diet you are consuming, there can be a certain risk. And I am not going to discuss about the extreme way of thing. One thing I can talk about is a keto diet. Or sometimes people can say that you have to consume your calorie or majorly from the fat, and then certain amount of protein, and minimum amount of from the carbohydrate. That is what we call keto diet. Because when you are consuming low carbohydrate, your body tends to produce ketone bodies, and ketone bodies are the alternative energy that can provide energy to the brain, because brain need glucose or carbohydrate. When you have a low carbohydrate, low glucose, the next energy source, brain cannot use fat, so fat will convert to ketone bodies, and ketone bodies are going into the brain and do the job. So that is what basically about the keto diet. Problem with keto diet is this is acidic. If it is exceeding to a certain level, it will create a ketoacidosis, the condition. If you are continuously, I mean, It's not a dangerous thing if you have a once in a week or something having this one occasionally, unless you are a completely person, you are completely healthier and there is no other condition involved in you, no disease condition, then that won't be a problem. But if you are really suffering from a condition like diabetes or hypertension or some other condition, I think it's very risky for you to do such an extreme diet, because the thing is, it will completely change the overall metabolism of your body, and it will change the, as I said, that acidic level will go up in your blood, and that will create a condition, ketoacidosis, which is a very dangerous condition, and sometimes it can lead to death even for certain people if you go into certain extreme. And some diets like intermittent fasting, very interesting concept, because it's okay to, because I also believe that we consume more than what we require. So fasting in a way, in occasional fasting is a good thing, because when you have, because we don't need that much of food to live, because we are not that much of active. If you are not active, then why should we have more than enough energy inside our body? That excess energy is the one causing problems or diseases. So therefore, having intermittent fasting, or whatever the fasting in between, can be a good thing. But only problem is, sometimes when you fast, sometimes when you break the fast, you eat more than what you require. So sometimes your daily requirement is 2,000 calories, and if you are eating all the 2,000 calories from the 2,000 or 2,500, sometimes you feel more hungry and you eat more. So that is the risk of this one. And there can be a certain occasion, like people with diabetes or people with some other disease conditions, their blood sugar level goes very low, because of, if you are fasting for a longer period than you require, then that will create actually a ketone body production inside your body, and that will create ketoacidosis and other similar conditions, might lead to certain problems or conditions that might be not very helpful if you think about. So therefore, yes, there are certain benefits of having fad diet, or so-called fad diet, or diets, a specific type of diet. But I think it's much important that you have to get the proper professional advice before taking off this one, rather than going for the social media. Over to you, Dara. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those insightful deliberations and your expert opinion on how best to deal with this misinformation overload smartly. And in a nutshell, as a rule of thumb, if it is too good to be true, for example, if the results are overpromising, be cautious. That is what I think Ananda sir tried to emphasize. And always go for professional advice. And I think we have time to accommodate one more question to be answered by the esteemed panel, given the time that was allocated for the panel discussion. And this last question, may I pose that last question to you, Professor Renuka Silva, sir? So today I believe that we have had the opportunity to have an eye-opening and a very fruitful discussion so far. So on a concluding note, I would like to check with you, sir, whether do you have anything else to mention to the audience from the nutrition perspective, sir? Over to you.
Yes, Sudhara. I think I shouldn't take a lot of time, because other speakers gave a lot of information. I think the audience might be waiting to ask more questions from us. So I just want to mention a couple of important things. Probably the lawyers may use in their day-to-day life. At least now this is the fruits and vegetable consumption, or increasing your eating fruits and vegetables in Sri Lanka. That habit is the nutrition month's this month's main target. So at least these the professionals here, the law professionals, will try to change their life at least by little thing. This only thing might give you a big change. If you eat at least 2 vegetables and 1 green leafy vegetable and 2 fruits daily, right, that will delay your death. I think everyone wants to delay the death. Right? Or you can, other words, you can live longer. Right? If you eat at least 2 vegetables, 1 green leafy vegetable and 2 fruits, 5 a day. So you need to count, at least you need whether you had 2 fruits, at least 1 leafy vegetable, pala, and the 2 vegetables, enough portions. So that is the important thing, not a heap of rice and little bits of vegetables. And paripu is not a vegetable. And arthapal or the potato is not a vegetable. So you need to find the real vegetables, maybe from the supermarket or Polar. If you go to Polar, you will get a variety, and this variety and the colors are very important. So this will make a change in your life. So the other things that you can make a change, think about the snacks that you have in your office or during your breaks in your busy life. We have prepared a little booklet for the university community to have healthy snacks. So I'm not saying that our university is adapting this and all meetings, these kind of things are little bit expensive now. The cheese and the cashew might be expensive, raisins might be expensive, but very colorful, palatable. People like to eat these kind of things rather than rolls, cutlets, and the icing cake. So these are some of the pictures that I want to show you. One of our staff members and the students developed them. If you don't have apples, then you don't have to eat apples. These days, apples are expensive, and apples not necessary to eat. You can have the local fruits. Have a little sandwich, which has tuna or whatever the easy options, and some salad leaves and some tomatoes if you want. But the thing is, you can't find all these things in the shop, unfortunately. There is no program, no support so far to have healthy snacks available to you. So then, if you want to have healthy life and don't want to get hospitalized and spend a lot of your productive time in the hospitals and spending your time on medical checkups, at least you need to start this kind of healthy things. These are healthier than what we usually eat, those bakery products. Right? So very colorful, the things, you can say that no time. Okay, you don't have time to everything, but finally you have to spend a lot of time in front of a doctor. So if you have a little fridge in your office, or if you definitely everyone is having the refrigerators at your home, so cutting these the fruits in pieces and having little containers will give you some the convenient way of carrying these to your office. I know that you can't eat them everywhere, but at least try to incorporate these things in couple of days in a week. That will make a change. So maybe for your dinner or for lunch, you can, if you are so busy, if you bring your home cooked food, that is the best. So little soup or some slices of vegetables and some nuts, even peanuts are very healthier than eating. You don't have to eat the cashew. These kind of snacks are better because you can see that a lot of the vegetables or eggs or some healthier options are here. Okay, so the egg sandwich or the slices of eggs with little bit of savory biscuits would be okay, but you have to eat the other things as well. The smart shopping is the other important thing. Never go to the supermarket when you are so hungry. Then you will feel that everything you should buy, and there are a lot of things comes to your capture by your eyes, and you want to grab everything. So have some smart shopping, and go for the fruits, vegetables first, and try to fill up the basket or the trolley with a lot of vegetables and fruits, and that will give you the healthy options. And already some other speakers told you about the mindful eating. These things, at least once in a while, you need to think about the habit. While when you are eating, you shouldn't hurry, and cook and eat in a good mood. Some people think that okay, males should not cook. I think the cooking must be a kind of a habit and fun. Now the young generation is also I mean the males are getting used to cook because there are a lot of YouTube videos, and you need to spend some time for your own health. So feel the taste of the good, and soft, relaxed music is good, but not. You shouldn't be multitasking while looking at the phone, or looking at the codes, the records, or the next the case file. No, no, no. You have to spend quality time when you are eating, and also respect your body and the health. That means you need to listen to your body. When your body says you are hungry, then you can eat. Otherwise, you can drink little water. And I'm not asking you to skip the meal, but as Professor Anand mentioned, skipping 1 or 2 meals occasionally doesn't matter, not as a habit, but you can do it. Right? And there's a question in the forum: what can we eat on the go, or eating? Can we? Okay, my suggestion is still we can eat healthily on the go. So the options that I have shown you earlier, you need to spend half an hour of 20 minutes to do that. And one of the options of saving your time is cooking for several days at once, the foods or the dishes, and keep it in small containers, and put it in the freezer or the fridge. It doesn't matter. Nothing will happen to the nutrients, and there's no diseases that you will get. You can keep the food safely in the refrigerator. There are certain things that you can't do, but there are practically the things that you can do. So once in a while, you can make a healthy dish and keep it in small portions, take it into your office, or on the go you can have. So those are some of the options that I want to mention. So there are a lot of practical things that you can do. You can think of and not trying the shortcut methods. Shortcuts are not the solutions for the healthy diet, healthy living. So you need to think overall what you eat on a particular day. Thank you, Udar. I think we would be happy to answer if there are any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those eye-opening remarks. And I'm sure that our audience have had the opportunity to grab a wealth of info, as well as immense pragmatic takeouts from this panel discussion. And I think we can, as per the clock, and because we have about a few minutes left, I think we can accommodate few questions that we have got through the chat. There are a plethora of questions also posted away previously. So from that list, I would pick. There's a very interesting, and one of the most asked questions was: is drinking several cups of black coffee a day is Hello.
I think your voice is
Hello.
not.
I think I got disconnected.
Yeah, but we heard the question. I think somebody can give the answer about the coffee.
So shall I post the question to Renuka
It's
madam?
okay.
Yeah,
so
I think I saw that it was answered by Professor Renuka also, that which was posted by someone, and actually that we say that 3 to 4 cups of coffee is fine, but not more than that, because considering the amount of caffeine and all these things, and there are positives as well as negatives, and sometimes when you are taking it in the lighter manner, it is good for the health, but if you are taking in the excessive manner, it is kind of damage the health. So it's always better to have it about 3 cups of coffee. This is what we always recommend.
Thank you, madam. And I think we can accommodate one last question. And there was another question: is eating fruits after your main meals unhealthy? Because this particular person who have posed the question have heard that it creates acidity and affects digestion. I'll pose that question to Ananda sir.
Thank you. Actually, there is no truth in there. Importantly, sometimes actually that will help you, because the thing is digestion. Yeah, we have to take it as a different perspective. We are not trying to increase of fasten the digestion. When you are consuming food, especially energy-rich food, it is good thing to slow down the digestion. Example is, according to that person's mentioned that acidity might make the digestion slow down. Yes, especially the carbohydrate digestion might slow down little bit, because that is, I think, in current perspective, we don't want to digest our carbohydrate as soon as possible, because that will increase the blood sugar fluctuation. I mean, like you develop blood sugar levels goes up very quickly, which is not very healthy. Because soon after eating that, all the carbohydrate will convert to glucose, and this glucose will come into the blood circulation, and it will go up in your blood sugar level. Even you are not diabetic, even that person is not diabetic, it doesn't matter. The high peaks of this blood sugar fluctuation can cause unnecessary problems, especially developing condition. Mainly we say that insulin resistant, they are in risk of that. So therefore, that's why we actually try to reduce the carbohydrate consumption. One thing. Second thing is we improve the quality by eating low glycemic index food. Low glycemic index food. When you are eating high glycemic index food along with the acid, a certain amount of acid, actually the digestion slows down. So therefore, having fruits along with the main meal or soon after main meal can be a much healthier way, rather than negative. It's in a negative way, because slowing the digestion can be a the healthful way, rather than what we describe as unhealthy. So that is my explanation for that, and I haven't seen any evidence, scientific evidence against that kind of something like a consumption of fruits and vegetables soon after fruits, especially after main meal, is not healthier. It is not. There is no evidence to support that.
Thank you, sir. And also, I would like to thank people who have posted questions on our way. So, given the interest of time, on that note, now I am compelled to hand over the controls back to the computer. And I apologize for us not being able to answer all your queries. But obviously, let us check with the Bar Association and the organizers, and we'll take necessary actions to make sure that all your queries are duly answered in due course. But before I hand over the session, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my sentiments of gratitude to our esteemed panel once again, and also to Mr. Rajiv Amarsurya sir, and the organizing committee for this brilliant endeavor. And also not forgetting to thank all our audience who took the time to join us. And I'm so sure that today the audience had a rare opportunity and were lucky enough to have listened to the expert opinions of three of the most sought after nutrition experts in the country on a topic of paramount importance. With that, we are heading closer to fruitful 1.5 hours of a well spent Saturday evening. So herewith, I'm handing the controls back to Ms. Yohani for the rest of the proceedings of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Udara.
Thank you.
This brings us to the end of today's webinar on why nutrition matters. I thank our esteemed panelists and the moderator for the fruitful and educational discussion on nutrition and for dedicating your time to be here with us and sharing your insights and answering the questions and doubts that arose. I thank the BASL Webinars and Legal Symposiums Committee for their dedication and hard work in organizing this insightful webinar. And last but not least, I thank all of you who have joined in for this session today through various platforms and for the interactive discussion that we've had. Thank you, and I hope you have